Now that you have decided to make money from writing, I must tell you that not all writing pays the same way. What I'm simply saying is some writing pay more than other kinds of writing. And in this video, I'm going to give you all the insider secret from my 5 years of experience writing as a professional on the internet. My goal for creating this video is to help you make informed decision about what kind of writing you want to do so that you can make the most money from your writing. So let's get into it. Let's begin this conversation from one of the questions that I often get asked by aspiring writers and newbie writers. Should I go for fiction or non-fiction? Now, this is a very tricky question. It depends on whether you're asking the question based off your passion or you're asking based on which of them can give you the most money. If all you care about is writing for passion, just writing what you like to write, saying what you want to say, and just building some influence and some impact, then I would say if you want to go for fiction, please by all means go ahead. And that does not also mean that those who write fiction do not make money. But if you want to make the most money from writing, then it's a no-brainer. Go for non-fiction. I used to be a fiction writer while growing up, but at some point I had to make a very critical decision to switch from fiction writing to non-fiction, and that was completely motivated by the fact that non-fiction is a more profitable kind of writing than fiction. And why is that? If you're a fictional writer, for example, your options are limited. You're probably a storybook writer, a novel writer, you can do a little bit of creative writing, and of course you can write movie scripts. But as a non-fiction writer, the opportunities are vast. There are hundreds and thousands of companies and individuals that need your service, either as a ghostwriter, a copywriter. Different kinds of opportunities exist as a non-fiction writer. So it's a no-brainer. You will make the most money as a non-fiction writer than being as a fiction writer. I hope this answers your question. So if you have always wondered which of them do you want to go for, again, like I say, it depends on what is your goal for writing. If your goal is motivated by money, then I will counsel you just to go for non-fiction writing. And now that that is out of the way, under non-fiction writing, there are also different kinds of writers. And again, what kind of writing you choose will also determine whether you are making $50 per hour or you're making $5 per hour. Although there are still other factors that determines how much you can charge, and I will quickly fill you in on that before I wrap up with this video. There are close to 100 subcategories under non-fiction writing, and you have to be intelligent about the choice that you make. I'm just going to mention a few in this video, but if you want a list of the other types of non-fiction writing, I have a document that I use for my students. Leave me a comment and I will send you the link to the document free of charge. A few types of non-fiction writing will include ghostwriting. Who are ghostwriters? Ghostwriters are those that write content for other people and let them take the credit for it. For example, you could write a web or blog article for a company or an individual. They get to put their name on the material as though they wrote it. So they get to pay you for writing and they pay you for also letting go of your right to the content. That is ghostwriting. If you write a book for somebody, for example, your name will definitely not be on the book. The name of the person goes on the book and it is assumed that they wrote the book, but you actually were the ghostwriter who worked on it. Alright, so that is ghostwriting. Then we have copywriting. Copywriting are those who write marketing content, marketing materials. You could be writing a copy for Facebook adverts. You could be writing a landing page advertisement copy. These are the people that we call copywriters. And if you ask me, copywriters and ghostwriters are like one of the big boys in the writing industry. Aside from those two, we also have what we call academic writing. Academic writers are those who help students and lecturers write their theses, their term papers, and other forms of academic papers. We call them academic writing. So the list goes on and on. Again, if you want a document that contains the different kinds of writing, leave me a comment and I will send you the link to the document free of charge. But what I'm driving at is what kind of writing you choose determine how much you make as a writer. For example, I once wrote content for a client from the United States of America. It was a 5-hour job and I was paid $550. If you divide $550 by 5 hours, that means I charged the client for the SEO article at $110 per hour. That is one of the beautiful parts of ghostwriting. But does it mean I charge all of my clients like that? No. All right. So in this industry, sometimes you're going to meet clients that are deep pocket clients and you can actually charge them more than you would charge a regular client on a normal day. So that said, what are the things that you need to consider when you want to choose the kind of writing that you decide to settle for? I often tell my students there are two things you need to do. Number one, you need to look within and then look without. And I will explain what that means. When I say look within, I'm saying look at your strengths as a writer. What are you very good at? What are you passionate at? All right, that can be a factor to consider when you're deciding what kind of writing to do. For example, if you want to be an academic writer, then you must be given to details, and then you must be patient because you need to cite your sources, you need to attribute, and then at the end, you need to draw your reference in, and this can take time. How do I know? I started my career as a writer, as an academic writer, when I was working as a research assistant in 2016. So I know it can be very dutiful. But if you're a type of person that does not have that kind of patience, that is not given to details, then you may not succeed as an academic writer. So you want to choose some other forms of writing that would not require that amount of concentration from you. So that is the whole concept of looking within. For example, I have never written a medical content before or a legal content, and I will almost never, well, firstly, obviously, because it is easier to write those contents if you have a background in those fields. For example, you would do well as a legal writer if you have a background in law. You would do well as a medical writer if you have a background in medicine, all right? But besides that, the intricacies of quoting constitutions or having to be so finicky or given to details when you're actually writing about diseases and sicknesses and all that is just something that I am never interested in. I've never been interested in anything medical, anything medicine, which is one of the reasons why when I see jobs that has to do with medical writing, legal writing, I just look away and go look for other kind of available opportunities. So what you're passionate about, what you're good at can be a determining factor. But having said that, it's important to emphasize that passion alone is not good enough reason to decide on what kind of writing you want to be. Sometimes you may need to stretch beyond your passion depending on the goal that you have for your writing career. This leads me to looking without. Under looking without, I'm going to talk about two things. The first thing you need to do when you want to choose the kind of writing you want to choose is to ask yourself, is this writing in demand? This is one of the reasons why I favor non-fiction over fiction. The demand for fiction is not as huge as the demand for non-fiction. So it makes no sense that you want to make money from writing and then you decide to be a fiction writer. So you want to ask yourself, is this kind of writing in demand? And I give you for free, currently in the writing industry, the kinds of writing that are in demand, maybe the top three. You have ghostwriting, you have copywriting, you have technical writing, and of course you have academic writing. These are the kinds of writing that are currently in demand. So you want to pick a kind of writing that has a huge demand at the moment if you want to make so much money from writing. What that does is that it increases your pool of clients. It means there are a lot of people needing your skill and your service. That increases your chances of getting a client ASAP. The second thing under looking without is to ask, is this writing eye-paying? I just mentioned how I wrote a 5-hour article for $550. That's an example of a eye-paying kind of writing. Under non-fiction too, there are different kinds of writing. Some writing will pay you $5 per hour, others will pay you $30, $40, $50 per hour. Presently today, ghostwriting pays well, copywriting pays well, technical writing pays well. So these are the things you want to consider when you want to choose what kind of writing you want to do so that you can make the most money from the time you commit to writing for individuals and businesses. So what are other factors that may affect what you charge or how much you earn? The first thing is your level of experience can sometimes be a determining factor when it comes to pricing. If you are just starting as a writer, it's your first year, compared to myself who has been writing for 5 years, I might be able to command more fee compared to you, all right? That often comes into consideration when clients are bidding for your writing. That's one. Two, location can also be a consideration. And I'm going to look at this in two ways. Sometimes companies from America often prefer to hire writers from countries like India, Pakistan, Nigeria, and some other African countries because there is a tendency that they can pay those writers lesser than they would pay an American writer. So that's something to really think about. So if you are a writer from Bangladesh or you're from India, chances are that you may not be able to charge as much as somebody who is from America would charge. Those are part of the not so cool part of this writing game, but you've got to live with it. But as you grow your competence and your track record in the industry, I guarantee you, it does not matter where you come from, you will be able to command some top dollars for your writing. Another way to look at the idea of how location affects how much you can charge is if, for example, you're from India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, or Nigeria. It makes sense for you to decide not to look for clients in your country because the minimum wage in your country might be so low compared to countries like America, like Canada, like Australia, or places like the UK. So one of the life-changing decisions that I made when I started my writing in 2020 was that in 2021, I decided that I was going to break into the American market. I was going to stop pitching clients from Africa and I was now going to begin to earn in dollars. And this was a decision that absolutely changed my life. One of the reasons why this was very helpful is because the difference between the United States dollars and the Nigerian naira is such a huge gap. So when you make money in dollars and then convert it into your currency, you're going to have so much reward for your writing compared to if you are writing for clients that are domiciled in your country. So that's some way to walk around the issue of how geography affects your charge as a writer. Thank you for sticking with me through this video. This information has been very useful for you. If you have any question maybe on this subject or as it has to do with other areas of writing, leave me a comment and I will consider recording a video on some of those questions or some of those issues. But if this has been valuable for you, like this video, let me know in the comment section that this was helpful. And of course, if you want to see more of this kind of video, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so that every time I record a video like this, you will be the first to get a notification. And in case you're thinking, how do I get started as a content writer today in 2025? Check out this video. I go into details about the 4 simple steps that you need to take if you want to become a content writer today. That's it. I will see you in my next video. In the meantime, stay legendary.